No one wants war, but war is also a validation. War tests your preparation.
The UAE has long relied on foreign defense systems. Now it's building more of that capability at home.
When you import a solution, normally, from anywhere in the world, you also import a doctrine, a way to use it.
At the center of that ambition is Edge Group, an Abu Dhabi-backed defense and technology company launched in 2019.
When Edge was created, it was created with a different flavor to it, from ammunition to space.
Now the question is whether Edge can turn the country's push for self-defense reliance into a global business. On the outskirts of Abu Dhabi, inside Tawazun Industrial Park, the UAE's defense ambitions are being turned into hardware. This is where Edge Group is trying to turn the UAE from a buyer into a builder, bringing design, engineering, testing, and production into one ecosystem. The company is still a young player by global defense industry standards, but it has grown quickly, consolidating more than 35 entities into a single defense and advanced technology group. The result is a company grouped into 6 core clusters, covering everything from missiles and weapons to space and homeland security. The ambition is not just to build for the UAE, but to prove those systems can compete abroad. Our first stop was Halkan, Edge's missile and weapons production facility. This is where I met Hamad Al-Marar, Managing Director and CEO.
This is an electromechanical-based facility. It is fully automated when it comes to assembly, and it is where really technology and human have actually met.
And was the goal to always become an exporter when Edge first started out?
It's important to try and promote your products, and if you have a strong belief in what you do, beyond your local user, it's credibility that you achieve.
And how has the last 4 months of war changed how you think about doing business?
Oh, we understand the need. We understand the urgency. It has really shaken our system in terms of paperwork and bureaucracy. It had, I would say, made us more efficient. Though wars are always bad, but sometimes you need a shake to reconsider things.
A shake for the better, would you say?
For the better, yes.
That urgency has become part of Al-Marar's argument for building more defense capability at home. He says the recent conflict showed how much of the UAE's response now depends on nationally developed technology. You are running probably what is one of the world's fastest growing defense startups today. And this is a business that has actually been tested by a real war on home soil.
Of course, no one wants war. But war is also a validation. War tests your preparation. It came after decades and decades of work. And it surely have demonstrated our readiness, our resilience, and the capabilities that mainly were homegrown.
Al-Marar says the UAE armed forces intercepted more than 95% of incoming threats, with more than 80% of those interceptions involving nationally grown technologies. What type of technology and products was Edge actually using during the Iran war?
Well, we've used many of our drones, of course, but what was very important is that we have deployed a full geofencing capability of the whole nation in over 190 sites in less than 48 hours.
And how much of the technology and product that Edge actually makes today is genuinely homegrown?
If I look at the portfolio in terms of products, not configurations, over 90% are UAE. 10% comes from abroad. Our entities that we own in Europe, we own in Latin America and elsewhere. And the products that we have locally, they are all stamped by Made in the UAE.
I think you're touching on a really critical point here. Is this about sovereignty for the UAE, relying less on those Western suppliers like the United States, for example, or is this now about building a globally competitive weapons and technology supplier?
Definitely we want to be competitive. And let's take it on different verticals, I would say. When you import a solution, normally, from anywhere in the world, you also import a doctrine, the way to use it. And there's no two armies alike. The geography is different, the size is different, the force multiplier definition is different, and the affordability is different.
And what has that development meant for the UAE and Edge's relationship with dominant Western suppliers like the United States, for example? Because I'm sure if the UAE is buying less weapons, then the US is probably raising one eyebrow, right?
Look, life is business. And we're not dropping anyone. Are we developing a fighter? The answer is no. Are we developing a main battle tank? The answer is no. But there are other things that we do rely on friends and allies as well. Now, are we buying less? Yes, we're buying less. But how much less? This is the United Arab Emirates Armed Forces should decide. I do not want to be the sole supplier of the armed forces. I have a family, right? And I need diversity and we need capability. No nation can work alone.
My next stop with Marar was Adassi, Edge's autonomous systems business. Inside this assembly hangar, the focus is on unmanned aircraft built for surveillance, strike missions, and battlefield support. What would you say is the strongest growth signal or the strongest growth market right now? Where is demand actually coming from?
I would say we're focusing on air defense, layer defense, defense from cyber attacks, defense from drones, defense from incoming missiles, ballistic missiles, fighter jets, helicopters. You need to optimize your layer defense because it became a war of attrition. You need to be able to afford it and stand tall for the longest time possible.
How do you keep the manufacturing costs low so that you can compete in the global market?
It's always about adopting the best available options, no legacies. There is always a better way to do things cheaper. When you design towards a price, most likely you will get there. But when you design only for spec, then you will try to get to that price.
Is advanced warfare becoming more expensive or less expensive for the buyer here that you have in mind?
It depends. The whole approach have changed. Maybe before you needed something on a certain standard, on a certain level. Maybe today you need a cheaper solution. The rules of the game have changed. A drone can take down a tank. Previously, it was a tank that takes down a tank. So you have to adapt or you will be behind.
Edge has also just opened up in Europe, in Paris specifically, with a French government cooperation agreement as well. How significant is that deal for Edge and for Abu Dhabi?
Europe is where the next budgets are. We would like to contribute to the security of Europe. We feel that we have a value. We feel that Europe have recognized this value by accepting us into Europe. These are facts. Now, we own entities in Estonia. We own an entity in Poland. We own an entity in Switzerland. We own an entity in Germany. We own an entity in France. And we have JVs in Spain, and we have partnerships and JVs and acquisitions in Italy. We have a very nice footprint in Europe, and this would have not been possible if the UAE wasn't accepted in Europe as a partner, knowing and trustworthy with NATO and the way we firewall things. Plus, you need another player in Europe. Even the big players today, we're working with them. There is always these collaborations, but they only start when you put your ego aside. There is always someone better than you. And you need to be on this learning curve forever. Things are ever changing.
Still, indeed, one of the world's most protected defense markets, though. So what are the solutions that Edge can actually provide?
We have over 200 solutions, over 70% that are on production lines. And we have about 30% that will see the light in the next 2 years. When we look at Edge Europe, we mean it when we say Edge Europe. Edge Europe is European. Edge Europe will utilize our platforms. Edge Europe will produce in Europe. We're complying with their rules, and those are the rules of the game. We need to comply with NATO. They need to go in operation on NATO. We totally understand that. And if we can accelerate security agenda in Europe, we will do that. If we can accelerate wealth and flourishing the ecosystem, we will do that. If we are adding value, we will do that.
The voices against foreign money coming in, particularly into the European defense sector, are rising. So what is your plan to combat that political pushback?
If I faced one, maybe I do have an answer, but I haven't faced any yet.
Scale is only part of the story. The bigger test is whether systems made in the UAE can compete globally. At Caracal, Edge's small arms business, that export push is already visible on the production floor. Here, weapons are assembled for domestic use and for international customers. So what specifically is being made inside this part of the warehouse?
We do assemblies of everything we produce for small arms in this place. So going from a 9mm pistol to a 12.7 sniper.
And where are all these small arms going? Where are you seeing the biggest demand?
The highest demand is, of course, the UAE. But we do have many export clients, and mainly in Asia and Africa.
Do you think that the global market for defense is getting more and more fragmented?
I would rephrase it. And I don't want to sound political, but unfortunately, 70% of the countries in the world lay outside EU, US, Russia, and China. The UAE is a very nice, natural, peaceful choice for many countries. If you buy from China, you upset US. You buy from US, you upset China. UAE is neutral. That's one. But the second thing, what is equally important, is we do not have bureaucracy towards export permits. They come out fast. No one wants to wait for a rifle for 6 months to receive a shipment. We have a very fast turnaround in that angle. Actually, in some cases, we are able to start supplying beyond or faster than a country issuing a contracting permit. And that's an advantage. Our business model is quite different. We build to stock and we sell, which makes it a faster turnaround on our inventory, faster turnaround to satisfy our sales order. And that's a big merit.
But only to those countries where the export control has been approved, right?
Of course. No, nothing goes into the country or outside the country without our MOD process.
You're leading almost 20,000 people inside this organization. How do you do that day to day? And what would you say is the number one thing that you think about when you get out of bed, coming into the office every day?
The largest risk I took is the will to work with a great team like the team I have. What keeps me up at night is, maybe you said 20,000, but this could be 100,000 dependents, families, kids, siblings, mom, father, that are relying on the bread earner in this group, that relies day and night on our decisions. And I'm a father myself. That keeps me up at night. I would spend my day and night not to lose a single employee in this organization. And I think that's my largest responsibility.
What's the biggest challenge that you're facing right now, leading Edge?
Every day. Every day. If I take it financially, the group has needs, and we need to keep money flowing. The group needs backlogs. We need careers, and we need to sustain the workforce. Politics, geopolitics, supply chain, logistics, things that are in your hand, maybe you can control, but things outside your hand, you have to navigate through. And there is no experience that can do that. You learn in the moment. And that's the difficult part of it, taking decisions in the unknown.
And as you continue to lead and grow Edge, where do you see this business in the next decade?
Top 15 soon.
How soon?
Very soon.
Very soon?
Very soon, at least in my tenure.
Hamad, great to see you today. Thank you for
Lovely
showing
to
me
see you.
around.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.